Hello and welcome back to Realistic Fishkeeping. Today we're diving into one of the most rewarding and sometimes challenging breeding projects in freshwater aquariums, the German blue ram. These stunning cichlids are known for their bright colours, interesting personalities and fascinating behaviour. I'll walk you through how to successfully breed German blue rams, from choosing a healthy pair to raising their fry. It's not all plain sailing, however, as you'll find out in this video. First, choosing your breeding pair. This is a video of a tank full of adult German blue rams at my local aquatic centre. These are exceptional specimens, and many German blue rams you see in shops are dull, small, and for this reason are often overlooked. But these ones were labelled as premium German blue rams, but they also came at a premium price too. They were £40 a pair, which is roughly $53. This is around twice the amount that they don't normally sell for in the UK, but these just looked amazing. Males are usually slightly larger with longer dorsal fin extensions, while females are smaller with a rounder belly. That turns pink when they're ready to breed. Females can also develop a few sparkly scales on the black spot on their sides, although this isn't a definitive way to tell them apart. The best way to get a compatible pair is to start with a small group of juveniles and let them naturally pair off, or in this case, watch them to see if any have already paired off. Rams form strong bonds and forced pairings don't always succeed. Now for the breeding tank setup. This was a planned purchase, and I always recommend doing your research about a fish that you're looking to buy rather than just heading out and purchasing a fish on impulse, as you don't know what that particular type of fish will like in terms of water parameters. As for these German blue rams, they're like a low pH between 5.5 and 6.5. To achieve this, I used rainwater I collected outside and filled up a small 32-litre tank. I added a heater and set it to 28 degrees Celsius or 82 Fahrenheit. The tank had been running for around 2 weeks with a sponge filter, and I also added a piece of spider wood, a terracotta pot, some java moss, and some round flat pebbles. The reason for all these will be revealed later on. Feed them high-protein foods like live brine shrimp, bloodworms, and daphne twice a day. As you condition them, you'll notice that the female's belly becomes pinker and both fish will get more colourful in general. They will dig holes in the substrate like this. They will also start cleaning the surface by rasping at it with their mouth. So this is a week after buying the rams, and they are already starting to show these behaviours. However, it was the female who was the most keen to spawn, and she started cleaning her surface with her mouth for around half an hour before laying her eggs. The female may also perform a practice passover where she will eventually lay the eggs, particularly if it's her first time. The female will lay around 100 to 300 tiny eggs, and the male will follow to fertilise them. Well, not on this occasion, as he decided to eat the eggs instead. It's not uncommon for these fish to be unsuccessful with the first few attempts at spawning, but it's interesting to watch them be more successful with each attempt as they learn. Eventually, both parents will guard their eggs and fan them with their fins to prevent fungus and improve oxygen flow. However, you might get a pair of rams who, no matter how hard they try, just never seem to get the hang of caring for the eggs. If that happens, you can move the eggs to a separate tank and raise them artificially on your own. To do this, you might need to put in a few drops of methylene blue and tattered air stone to increase the oxygen flow to prevent fungus. This was the pair's fourth attempt at spawning. They chose a terracotta pot this time. At this stage, it's important to disturb the parents as little as possible. Any sign of stress can cause them to heat the eggs. This is a video of some artificially raised eggs. You can see one has already hatched, and the others have visible eyes. The eggs usually hatch in around 2 or 3 days, depending on the temperature. Upon hatching, they are called wrigglers and can't yet swim. The fry are super small, but grow very quickly at this stage. Once the fry are free swimming, by day 5, you could start feeding them with infusoria, tiny powdered fry food, or microworms, which is what I did. You could switch to baby brine shrimp after about a week. This is where the moss and the other live plants can help as well, because these normally harbour tiny little creatures that the fry can eat. This is a video of the fry at around a week old. They are now ready to accept slightly larger food, such as baby brine shrimp. The tank looks a little green as I've added a few drops of general tonic, just to keep any bacteria or disease at bay while the fry are so vulnerable. At a week old, the parents would now expect their babies to leave them one by one. However, in the confines of a fish tank, they are unable to do so. This marks an important turning point. The fry will soon become pariah. You will need to remove the parents or the fry at this point. I prefer removing the parents rather than the babies because the fry are much more delicate, and keeping them in the same water that they were born in really helps improve survival rates. Now feeding becomes very important, and lots of little feedings are required rather than one big one. Now I've removed the parents from the tank, I've added some brittle-nosed plecos. This is to help reduce the chance of overfeeding the fish, which would otherwise foul the water. These scavenger-type fish will act as a clean-up crew and keep the water quality high, as these fry are sensitive to nitrate and nitrite in the water. Breeding German blue rams takes patience and consistency, but it's one of the most rewarding projects in freshwater fish keeping. Watching those tiny fry grow into colourful adults is an incredible experience. Over the past 4 months, I've watched my fry grow into young adults, and now they are beginning to colour up. Some grow quicker than others, and I have one here who I can see is a female. The rest I can only really hazard a guess. Look forward to breeding these again, and now I have some experience. I wanted to make this video so I could share it with you, so you could have a go at it for yourself. If you found this guide helpful, leave a like, subscribe, and let me know in the comments if there's a video on how to breed any other type of fish that you might like to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye for now.